Mexico City, January 14, 2026. It was 7:42 in the morning when the nurse on duty at the Angeles Hospital heard something that left her paralyzed. In pediatric ward number 3, a girl of barely 4 years old, hospitalized for a high fever, had sat up in bed, wide awake, and had said in a clear voice, "I already remembered what I heard before I got here. Not all humans have souls." The nurse, accustomed to feverish delusions, smiled nervously. But the little girl stared at her, with a seriousness unbefitting her age. "You do," he added. "That's why I can see you." That phrase was the beginning of one of the strangest and most documented cases in modern Mexican history. The girl's name was Amelia Navarro, the daughter of a couple of school teachers from Tepoztlan. They did not belong to any religious or spiritual group. They didn't talk about reincarnation, or angels, or anything like that. But from that morning, the Navarro family's life would change forever. During the first days, the doctors attributed the girl's words to a feverish state. However, the fever disappeared the next day, and Amelia kept repeating the same story, word for word, as if she had memorized it in some invisible place. Her mother, Lucia, began recording her with her phone to show the pediatrician. In the first recording, the girl spoke in a calm tone, almost whispering. "Before I came, I was in a place where time didn't exist. There were lights singing. Some were soft, others screamed. And one of them told me that I should come here, but to be careful, because not all humans have souls." Lucia, shaken, asked, "What is the soul, my love?" "It's the voice that doesn't go away when you fall asleep." The video was sent to a child psychologist, Dr. Raul Estrada, who upon hearing it noticed that the words did not correspond to the vocabulary of a 4-year-old girl. No infant at that age could construct metaphysical sentences with such coherence. Even so, he agreed to interview her. The session was recorded by the cameras of the office. The doctor began with simple questions. "Do you remember what you did before you were born?" Amelia looked at him for a long time before replying. "I listened. Everything was sound. There was no color. Only echoes. Souls talked to each other. But some said nothing. They just repeated names, over and over again, as if they didn't remember who they were." "And you remember who you were?" "Not quite. I just chose to come because I heard a woman crying. It was my mother. His soul was crying out for help. And when I heard it, I threw myself like a spark." Dr. Estrada interrupted the recording. In his notes he wrote, "The subject manifests pre-existent memories with abnormal linguistic patterns. There are no indications of infantile fabulation." At the end of the session, Amelia took the psychologist's hand and whispered something that made him tremble. "You also come from there. But you forgot what you promised." That same night, Dr. Estrada had a strange dream. In it, he walked through a white corridor where thousands of voices called him by his name. One of them, identical to Amelia's, told her, "You can still remember it if you learn to hear silence." The next morning, he called Lucia Navarro and asked her permission to conduct more interviews with the girl. "I wanted to understand if it was a case of early memory, trauma, or something that escaped conventional psychology." Over the next few weeks, Amelia began to describe in more detail that place before she was born. According to her, it was neither heaven nor hell, but a formless space where everything was made of sound and thought. "The souls moved as if they were swimming in the music," he explained. "Some had gold colors, others blue. But the grays could not sing. The gray ones are the ones that come down without a soul." "What about the ones that have no soul?" asked Lucia. "They are still alive, but they do not feel. They walk, work, laugh, but they are empty. They only look at others to copy what they do. They have no voice when they sleep." Dr. Estrada tried to confront her. "Who told you that, Amelia?" "A big light, older than the sun. He showed me the earth before I was born. He said that some humans were mirrors, not souls. That its reflection serves to test those who do. Lucia began to notice strange things. When Amelia entered a room, the clock stopped for a few seconds. Electronic devices failed. The pets watched her without blinking. One night, her mother found her awake, staring at the wall and whispering names. "Who are you talking to, love?" "With those who left without a soul. They're looking for one." The next morning, the girl asked her mother to take her to the park where they used to go before her illness. He sat down by the fountain and pointed to a woman who was hurrying by, with a briefcase. "She has no soul," he said calmly. "Just a borrowed souvenir." Lucia reprimanded her, "Don't say that, honey. You can't know." But Amelia insisted. "Yes, I can. You can see it in his eyes. They don't shine." Dr. Estrada documented these episodes and presented them to a neuropsychiatry committee. None of his colleagues could offer a satisfactory explanation. One of them, Dr. Eduardo Cordova, suggested that it was a case of hyperphantasia, an anomalous ability to construct extremely vivid mental images, but admitted that he had never seen a patient of that age maintain narrative consistency in such long sessions. The phenomenon attracted the attention of alternative media. A journalist from an esoteric channel managed to interview the family. The video was posted under the title, "The Girl Who Remembers What She Heard Before She Was Born." In a few hours, it reached millions of views. In the interview, Amelia maintained her composure and repeated her most disturbing phrase. "Not all humans have souls. Some were only made to teach others what happens when you forget the light." The next day, the family began receiving messages from people around the world claiming that their children were saying similar things. In Brazil, a 3-year-old girl said she had chosen to come when she heard her mother crying. In Spain, a 6-year-old boy said he dreamed of disembodied voices begging to be born. In all cases, the children woke up at the same time, 3:33 in the morning. Dr. Estrada began to suspect that it was not an isolated case. He cross-referenced the data from the testimonies and discovered something disturbing. All the families lived near old magnetic zones, places where electromagnetic anomalies and acoustic echo phenomena had been recorded. Could the place of souls be a frequency, a vibration not yet understood by science? Meanwhile, Amelia kept revealing more fragments of her memory. One night, looking up at the sky, he said, "New souls come down in the form of sound. But some do not arrive. They get caught up in the noises." "What noises?" asked his mother. "Those of humans who scream without a soul. They are the strongest. They make sure that the new ones do not find their way." At that moment, a blackout covered the entire neighborhood. The sky lit up with a blue glow, and Amelia smiled. "They're coming down," he said. "Those who still remember the song." Lucia felt fear, but also an inexplicable peace. For the first time she understood that her daughter was not imagining anything. What he said had the tone of an ancient truth, one that cannot be proven with devices, but that vibrates in the soul when it is heard. That same night, Amelia woke up screaming. He said that the gray lights were approaching. That they wanted to steal the voices. His body trembled, but his eyes remained open, fixed on something that no one else could see. Dr. Estrada, upon finding out, traveled immediately. He took with him an ultrasound recorder to pick up inaudible frequencies. As he played the tapes, he heard a rhythmic pattern similar to a heart pulse, accompanied by a murmur in an unknown language. Spectral analysis revealed that the voice came directly from the area where Amelia was. The exact frequency, 3.33 Hz. When she asked her the next day what had happened, Amelia replied with terrifying calmness. "The gray ones are no longer there. They can't stand the sound of the soul." And before falling asleep, he whispered a phrase that would make even the most skeptical tremble. "True souls do not die, they just change songs." During the days following the blackout, the Navarro house became the epicenter of a mystery that surpassed all human comprehension. The girl no longer spoke in the same childish voice, her tone was paused, almost hypnotic, and her words seemed to come from a place much older than her. Electrical appliances kept failing when Amelia walked into a room, and clocks, without exception, read 3:33, no matter the actual time. Dr. Raul Estrada installed electromagnetic monitoring equipment in the house, convinced that the phenomenon could have a physical explanation. But the more he analyzed the data, the further he moved away from science. On the first night of observation, while recording Amelia's sleep, the sensors picked up a low-frequency, stable, rhythmic wave that repeated every 3 seconds. It did not come from the environment or the devices, it emanated directly from the girl's body. At exactly 3:33 a.m., the signal was amplified and the meters were turned off. When Estrada looked at the screen before the cut, he managed to read something that left him paralyzed. The wave pattern formed a fractal figure similar to the symbol of Atlas III, Elon Musk's mysterious aerospace project suspended years ago. The next day, he showed the charts to a colleague at the National Institute of Astrophysics. The man watched silently and murmured, "This is not biological noise. It's an echo, a resonance identical to that recorded by the satellites when the Atlas was first activated." No one understood how a 4-year-old girl could emit a signal linked to a cancelled space experiment. But Amelia seemed to know. That afternoon, while playing with a piece of chalk, he drew a sphere on the ground divided into 3 rings. In the center, he placed a luminous dot X shown in the sunlight. "This is the place where souls are born," he said without looking up. "The Atlas calls them when the sound is turned off in the sky." Lucia, who was watching her in silence, asked her what that meant. "The Atlas is not a machine," Amelia replied. "It's a bridge. It was built by humans who still remember what creation sounds like." "Why Elon Musk?" The girl stopped. He smiled with a melancholy impossible for someone his age. He heard the right note, but he touched it before his time. Dr. Estrada began to record every word, convinced that he was facing a case that would challenge the history of consciousness. As the days passed, Amelia began to detail what she remembered of the place before I was born. It described a space where souls lined up in circles, listening to a melody that marked the rhythm of the universe. Each soul had a different tone, but they all vibrated in harmony. When the tone is broken, he explained, the soul is extinguished. And when it is extinguished, someone else can occupy the body it leaves empty. "Do you mean there are bodies without souls, Amelia?" "Yes. They are the ones who forgot their song. They walk, but they don't remember the rhythm. They look alive, but inside they are empty." The doctor watched her, trying to maintain objectivity. However, every time the girl spoke, the lights in the room shook. Sometimes, a distorted voice would leak into the recordings. In one of them, when played in slow motion, a deep phrase was clearly heard, pronounced by a male voice. "The sound is fading away." None of the people present had said it. That night, Amelia woke up screaming. "They don't want me to say it," he repeated over and over again. Her mother ran to hug her, while Estrada turned on the tape recorder. "Who doesn't want to, Amelia? Those who have no soul. They hate sound. They want to turn off the heart note." His voice became a whisper, "I recognize you by your eyes. They have no reflection. They don't feel the cold. They walk among us." From that day on, the girl began to identify people without a soul, even on television. During a newscast, he pointed to the anchor and said coldly, "He is not alive. He only repeats what the Greys teach him." The Greys. That's what he called them. Dr. Estrada decided to investigate on his own. He searched for files on human resonance projects related to the Free Atlas. He discovered leaked documents that talked about an experimental technology, a quantum neural network designed to detect patterns of collective consciousness through acoustic frequencies. The project had reportedly been cancelled after causing unexplained alterations to NASA's atomic clocks and the behavior of several test subjects. One phrase in particular froze him. Atlas III detects absence of resonance in certain human individuals. It is presumed that there is a lack of a mental matrix. Estrada understood that Amelia's phrase, "Not all humans have souls," was not a metaphor. It was the exact description of what the experiment had discovered. When she showed the documents to her mother, Lucia burst into tears. "What do you want from my daughter?" "I don't know," Estrada replied. "But I think she's connected just as often as the Atlas." That night, the doctor left his tape recorder on next to the girl's bed. At 3:33, an interference filled the room. Then an unknown voice spoke. "The frequency is maintained. The subject has recalled. The soul activates the channel." The sound stopped. When reviewing the data from the device, Estrada verified that the message did not come from a terrestrial source. The next morning, Amelia woke up calm and asked for paper and pencils. He drew a spiral of blue and gold hues, and in the center he wrote a word in childish letters: bridge. "What is this?" asked Estrada. "That's what I heard before I came," she replied. "They told me that the Atlas was a bridge between those who have a soul and those who lost it. That one day, when the sound wakes up, we'll all have to cross it." Lucia felt a chill. What if someone doesn't cross? Amelia looked at her with infinite sadness. "Then he will remain silent. There where the voices are muffled and there is no longer color." Since then, the family began to notice a change in the girl's behavior. He could foresee simple things: a call before it happened, an unexpected visit, even the weather. But what was most disturbing was his ability to recognize hidden emotions. It was enough for him to look at someone to tell him what he really felt. When a neighbor visited her and feigned joy, Amelia murmured, "Don't feel guilty. He forgave you when the sound called him." No one understood who he was referring to, but the woman burst into tears. Her husband had died 3 months ago, and she hadn't talked about it with anyone. From that day on, people began to come to the Navarro house looking for comfort or answers. Amelia received them with a serenity that no adult possessed. He asked them to close their eyes and listen to their breathing. "If you hear the echo within you," he said, "then your soul keeps singing." However, not all visitors could stand it. Some came out crying, others trembling, and a few fainted when they looked directly at her. One of them, a journalist, recorded a video before fainting. As she reviewed the material frame by frame, she noticed something impossible. Amelia's face changed for milliseconds, adopting different ages, as if her being contained multiple overlapping lives. That night, the journalist disappeared. His camera was found in a park, recording the same image on a loop, the night sky and a phrase whispered in a child's voice. Not everyone should remember. Some were born to forget. Dr. Estrada, already convinced that Amelia was not an ordinary girl, decided to take her to a safe laboratory. But when they went to look for her, they found her sitting in front of the window, watching the moon. "They can't lock me up," he said without turning around. "My voice doesn't fit on the walls." The mother knelt beside him. "What are they telling you, love?" "That the sound is about to return. That soon everyone will hear what I heard before I was born." The clock read 3:33. The air became dense. And, for the first time, Dr. Estrada felt something he had never felt in his life, a silence so deep that it made him forget his own name. The following weeks were a descent into a territory where science and the sacred were confused. Dr. Estrada, unable to fall asleep, spent his nights reviewing the recordings. Each session with Amelia was a puzzle. No answer seemed invented, his descriptions followed an order, a structure. They were not delusions, they were memories. In the fourth interview, the girl spoke without anyone asking her. "Before we were born, we all listened to the same song, but only some understand it. The song decides who can come." "Who sings it, Amelia?" "I don't know. He has no mouth. It is a light that sounds. When he sings, souls awaken. But sometimes there are notes that do not respond, and then bodies are created without souls." Dr. Estrada wrote down every word. "How are these bodies created?" When a note goes out, the body continues to grow, but empty. Humans call it birth the same, but they don't feel the same. They don't dream. They don't remember. They can't love. Lucia, the mother, was present. His face was a mixture of amazement and fear. And how do you know if someone has a soul or not? Because of the sound they make when they breathe. Those who have souls breathe softly, as if they were talking to the air. The others make noise, but there's no song inside. Dr. Estrada asked him if he had heard that song during his dreams. No. I listen to it when the world is silent. That same night, as they were reviewing the audio, a low-pitched hum emerged from the speakers. At first it seemed like interference, but as they increased the volume, they discovered a rhythmic pattern. It was not static, but a sequence of rising and falling frequencies, as if a melody were hidden between the waves. Estrada made a spectral analysis. The sound formed a geometric figure identical to the spiral that Amelia had drawn days before. In the center of the pattern a numerical ratio was clearly distinguished, 333. The most disturbing thing was what happened next. Each time they played the file, the clock in the room stopped for exactly 33 seconds. Lucia began to have recurring nightmares. She dreamed of a white room, identical to the one Amelia had described. Thousands of voices sang, but without words. Some were slowly fading, and in that silence, other voices shouted for birth. In the dream, Lucia saw a door made of light. Behind her, a figure watched her. It was her daughter, but older, with the same face and the same look. There are still empty bodies, Amelia told him in the dream. Soon they will want more voices. Dr. Estrada noted that Lucia's dreams coincided with the exact hours when Amelia entered episodes of trance. No cameras recorded abnormal movements, but the brain rate monitors showed impossible peaks, as if his brain was operating on multiple levels of consciousness simultaneously. When Amelia woke up, she remembered fragments. I heard a meeting, he said. They talk about new souls. Of those that are going to be born without a song. Who is speaking? The builders. They make the bodies. Not the bad guys, but they forgot the singing. Why do they make them soulless? Because they believe that the soul is in the way. They say that with it humans doubt. And they want order, they don't hesitate. Estrada couldn't believe his ears. Where are those builders? In the noise. Where music doesn't reach. During one of the sessions, Amelia asked that all the lights be turned off. He sat down on the floor and began humming a strange, circular melody, with no beginning or end. As he did so, the temperature in the room dropped. The walls seemed to vibrate. Estrada, nervous, turned on his recorder, but the girl's voice stood out above any interference. At one point, the melody stopped abruptly and Amelia opened her eyes. They are listening too, he murmured. Who? Those who have no soul. They get scared when someone remembers the song. The doctor turned off the tape recorder and looked at her uneasily. What do they want from you, Amelia? Let him forget. But I can't. I've already heard it in its entirety. The next day, Lucia found her awake before dawn, looking at the reflection of the moon in the window. Mama, B.S. la luz. Yes, love. It's not the moon. It's the note he brought me. The girl raised her hand and began to draw on the foggy glass a shape of 3 interlocking circles. In the center, he wrote with his finger, Alma. That's what it looks like when it shines, he said. But if the center goes out, only the circles remain, and the circles alone spin endlessly. That's what empty humans are. That same night, Dr. Estrada was visited by government agents. Their communications with foreign colleagues had been intercepted. They interrogated him for hours. One of them showed him a file marked with the logo of Project Free Atlas. We know what the girl is doing, the man said. It should not continue. It's activating something we don't understand. What does Atlas have to do with this? Asked Estrada. Everything. The atlas was designed to map human consciousness. But when it was first ignited, it didn't detect thousands of minds. As if they did not exist. As if they were empty. Your daughter is opening that channel again. What are those empty minds? Bodies without souls. Prototypes of the 21st century. Human creations without song. The doctor then understood that Amelia was playing the original frequency that the project had sought. Not an extraterrestrial signal, as many believed, but the primordial vibration of the soul. When the agents left, he ran to the Navarras house. Amelia was waiting for him awake. They've already come, right? How do you know? I heard their footsteps before they spoke. They walk without rhythm. Estrada tried to hide his fear. What's going to happen now? The song is going to be repeated, but this time everyone will hear it. Those who have souls will weep. Those who do not will remain silent. The doctor turned on the recorder. When will it happen? When the clocks forget to move forward. On January 24th, the phenomenon was repeated. At 3:33 a.m., millions of digital clocks around the world showed the same time, without electronic systems being able to explain it. For 33 seconds, the sounds of the city died down. Some witnesses claimed to have heard a deep vibration, followed by a distant chorus, as if the entire planet was breathing at the same time. That morning, Amelia woke up smiling. It's already started, he said. The world is remembering. Dr. Estrada wrote in his diary, if what Amelia says is true, the human soul does not belong to the individual, but to a living network that can awaken collectively. And the free atlas was not a machine, it was a key. That night, the air in the city became heavy. The animals acted erratically. The clocks stopped randomly. The television mistakenly broadcast a fleeting image, a girl looking directly at the camera with her eyes glowing blue. It was just a painting, but thousands of people in different countries claimed to have seen it at the same time. It was Amelia. The early morning of January 25th marked the beginning of what would later be known as the Night of Silence. No storm, explosion, or visible phenomenon could explain it, but for exactly 33 seconds all the noise on the planet disappeared. Not the engines, not the animals, not even the wind. It was as if the world had inhaled deeply and forgotten how to exhale. When the sound returned, Amelia woke up suddenly. She was sitting on her bed, her eyes wide open. In the security recording, she is heard whispering. The voice spoke. He said the bridge is ready. Lucia ran to her room. The girl didn't look scared, but expectant, as if she had just remembered a secret she had been searching for centuries. What voice, love? The one who sings the beginning. The one we all heard before we were born. Dr. Estrada arrived minutes later, with the equipment still on from the previous experiment. The frequency meter registered an inaudible, constant vibration coming from the girl's chest. It wasn't a heartbeat, it was a pure, perfect frequency, oscillating at 3.33 Hz. Doctor, Amelia said, I have to tell you what I heard before I came. Estrada brought the tape recorder closer. The girl closed her eyes and began to speak slowly, as if repeating a melody. It was a space without light or shadow. Everything was sound. But it wasn't noise, it was order. Each soul had its note, and they all formed a song so great that it did not fit in any universe. I was a spark within that song. I knew that one day I would have to come here. Why did you come, Amelia? Because the singing was dying down. Someone was stealing the notes. Who? Those who forgot the beginning. They wanted to create their own melody, one that had no pauses, no love, no silence. They said they could make new bodies, but without a soul. And they succeeded. Estrada leaned forward. How did they make them? They copied the form, but not the sound. They used the echo of the soul of others. That is why those who have no soul seem alive. They are reflections that repeat what they hear, but can never create a new note. The doctor swallowed. And what did you, exactly, hear before you were born? Emilio was silent for long seconds. Then he spoke in such a low voice that it was scarcely heard. A deep voice said, "Go and remember what others forgot. Tell them the song still exists." Lucia began to cry. The girl came over, hugged her and whispered, "You heard it too, Mom. Only you fell asleep before finishing it." That same night, the security cameras of the house recorded an inexplicable phenomenon. At exactly 3:33 a.m., a blue glow descended on the ceiling for 17 seconds. The electronic devices were turned off. When the light disappeared, Amelia was standing in the garden, looking up at the sky. Dr. Estrada and Lucia ran towards her, but the girl stopped them with a single sentence. "Don't get close. It has not yet finished going down." A bright rain began to fall from the sky, like luminous dust. The particles did not get wet, but when touched they produced a slight buzzing sound, the same tone that the machines had registered in the sessions. Estrada extended his hand. The dust vibrated on his skin as if he recognized something. "It's the song," Amelia murmured. "It's coming back." The next morning, the news spoke of an unprecedented atmospheric phenomenon. Similar light showers were reported in several countries. Scientists called them photonic fallouts, but none could explain why they only occurred at 3:33. Over the next few days, Amelia went into long trances in which she described in detail the structure of the place before she was born. According to her, it was not a physical sight, but a frequency. "The soul is not made of matter," he said. "It's made from memory. Every memory we love becomes sound. And that sound builds the body when we decide to come." "Did we decide to come?" asked Estrada. "Yes. No one is forced. Souls choose the place, the family, the time. But when they cross the bridge, silence touches them and forget the song. Only a few manage to remember it." The doctor pointed out, prenatal amnesia is not forgetting, it is protection. Lucia listened to her fascinated. "And what about those who have no soul?" "They did not cross. They were created from below, by the makers of noise. They are necessary for others to learn to hear." That phrase was engraved in the doctor's mind. What if humanity was divided between those who still resonated with the song and those who couldn't hear it? He tried to verify the data again. He sent the recordings of the frequencies to the Arecibo Observatory, now reactivated as a civilian center. The director's response was immediate. "Doctor, the signal you are sending us is not human. But neither is it extraterrestrial. It is modulated on a harmonic scale identical to the pattern of the cosmic background radiation. It's as if it came from the birth of the universe." That night, when Estrada told Lucia, Amelia interrupted. "Of course it comes from there. The soul was born with the universe. The first explosion was a note. All that exists is its echo." The doctor was speechless. The girl continued. "When the echo goes out, the universe dies. That's why I came. To remember the missing note." Over the next few weeks, Amelia began to change physically. His body temperature dropped 2 degrees. His skin took on a faint glow in the dark, and his eyes reflected blue light even during the day. In his drawings, the colors were transformed. He no longer used warm tones, only blues, golds, and whites. In one of them he wrote in childlike handwriting, "The sound of the soul is not hearing, is to remember." Dr. Estrada brought together a group of neuroscientists to study the phenomenon. They used brain activity scanners while the girl spoke. The results were impossible. Amelia's brain showed perfect synchronization between the 2 hemispheres, something that doesn't happen even in advanced meditative adults. At one point, brain activity exceeded the limits of the human range, generating a fractal pattern that, when analyzed mathematically, coincided with the Fibonacci spiral. "It's resonating with the structure of the universe," one of the scientists muttered. At that moment, Amelia opened her eyes inside the scanner and said in a firm voice, "Do not measure the soul. Listen to her. The machine shut down by itself. The days became blurred. Visits to the house increased. Some people claimed to feel remembered by the girl, others could not bear to look at her for more than a few seconds. Those who looked into her eyes described visions of their own past lives, memories of loves and losses that they had never told anyone. One night, an elderly priest visited Lucia. I wanted to see Amelia. When the girl looked at him, she smiled sweetly. You sang before you were a father, he said. You sang the green note, the one of forgiveness. The priest began to cry. How do you know? I heard it before I came. All those who still remember his note have souls. After that night, Amelia asked for one thing: I need to go back to where it all began. Where the earth sings loudest. Dr. Estrada knew what he meant, the ancient ruins of Teotihuacan, where resonances similar to those emitted by the girl had been detected. They prepared the trip in secret. But the government was already watching them. The last surviving recording shows Amelia walking between the pyramids under a bright blue light, saying, "The sound is waking up. Souls are returning to their place." The transmission cuts out just as the clock strikes 3:33. Teotihuacan, February 2nd, 2026. Dawn never came that day. From Mexico City to nearby towns, the sky remained covered by a blue luminescence that did not seem to come from the sun. Weather satellites recorded a constant vibration of 3.33 Hz, the same that accompanied each appearance of Amelia. Dr. Raul Estrada and Lucia Navarro arrived at the site before dawn, carrying the girl wrapped in a white blanket. The temperature had inexplicably dropped, and the birds, silent, covered the ancient stones. Amelia asked to be left alone in the Pyramid of the Sun. This is where it all began, he said. Here the earth still remembers. Estrada turned on the recorder for the last time. The wind blew in short gusts, but the sound seemed to stop around the girl. She slowly advanced to the center of the platform and raised her hands to the sky. I can hear it, he murmured. The heart of the world. A deep hum filled the air. The rocks vibrated. People miles away heard an echo they described as an impossible melody, a mixture of human voices and metallic sound. Some cried without knowing why, others fainted. Dr. Estrada covered his ears. The instruments marked impossible energy levels. Amelia, enough, he shouted. But the girl looked at him and smiled with infinite tenderness. Don't be afraid, doctor. I've remembered everything. Lucia tried to get closer, but the ground between them lit up. Amelia was standing in the middle of a circle of light, and behind her, for an instant, translucent silhouettes, human figures made of sound and radiance, appeared, moving as if breathing. They are the old souls, the girl explained without moving her lips. They came to help me finish the song. The sky began to open. Not as a crack, but as if an invisible layer was detached from reality. From that point, Atlas 3I, which everyone thought was deactivated, reappeared above the horizon, suspended in the air. The structure glowed with the same blue of the photonic rays, but something inside vibrated, responding to the girl's voice. Elon built it without knowing why, Amelia said. He thought he was looking for life outside, but the Atlas was designed to listen inside. The doctor could barely stand. The energy waves distorted the air. Inside what? From us. From the psalm. Then, lightning descended from the Atlas to the center of the pyramid. Amelia raised her face and closed her eyes. Her body became pure light. For exactly 33 seconds, the entire planet was bathed in a blue glow. The ocean stopped. The clocks wasted time. No one breathed. And within that absolute silence, millions of people heard the same voice. It was the voice Amelia had described, deep and formless. The soul is not a gift. It's a choice. Then a second, softer sentence, like a whisper that pierced space. Remember who you are. Not all humans have souls, but everyone can find it. When the light faded, Amelia was gone. A symbol was engraved on the ground, 3 intertwined circles and a bright dot in the center. Dr. Estrada knelt down and touched the stone. It was still worn, as if it had beaten. Lucia shouted her daughter's name. No one answered. The air smelled of ozone and flowers, an impossible mixture. The atlas disappeared from the sky without a trace. The satellites were blank for 3 minutes. That night, news broadcasts around the world broadcast the satellite images, a plume of blue light emerging from Mexico visible from orbit. No nation took responsibility. No government offered an explanation. However, something changed in the following days. Millions of people began to experience strange sensations, memories that did not belong to them, dreams where unknown melodies were heard, emotions that they could not name. Hospitals reported unexplained healings, the atomic clock stopped sinking and then, mysteriously, adjusted themselves. Those who had lost all faith began to speak of a rebirth of the soul. Dr. Estrada resigned from his posts. He disappeared from public life and wrote a single document, entitled The Song of the Threshold, which contained his concluding remarks. The girl was not a phenomenon, but a reminder. His body was the instrument. His voice, the key. He did not speak of religion or faith, but of frequency. What we heard that night was the first vibration, the echo of the beginning. The soul is the memory of the original sound. Lucia Navarro, the mother, lived the rest of her days in silence. But the neighbors claimed to hear a murmur coming from their house every morning, a childish melody, soft and repetitive, like a lullaby. No one knew her, but everyone agreed that, when they heard her, something inside them awoke. A year later, scientists at CERN discovered an inexplicable change in the structure of spacetime, a constant, minimal, but present variation throughout the planet. The instruments recorded a universal base frequency that had never existed before. Its value, 3.33 Hz. The headlines of the world spoke of the human vibration. But for those who had heard the voice that night, there was no doubt, Amelia's psalm was still alive. Months have passed since the girl's disappearance. No one saw her again. But in different parts of the world, when clocks read 3:33, electronic devices emit a slight buzzing sound. Those who listen to him say they feel a deep peace, as if for an instant the world breathed with them. Dr. Estrada, in his last letter before dying, wrote, "Not all humans have souls. Some lost it, others sold it, and a few never woke it up. But each of us can hear it again. The soul is not created, it is remembered." In Tepoztlan, the place where it all began, the stone where Amelia disappeared continues to emit a faint glow every morning. Visitors claim to hear, under the wind, a child's voice singing. Not all humans have souls, but you do. Listen to it. And in that echo, humanity understood its greatest truth, that the soul does not belong to the body, but to the sound that beats within it, an eternal vibration that, even after the end of time, will continue to search for its song.